inorganic pigment versus organic pigment, and why one is more beginner friendly than the other. This might get a little scientifical, okay? So as I have been explaining over and over, inorganic or more inorganic based pigments do tend to be more beginner friendly because they don't have as much retention once the client is healed, and they do tend to fade out warmer over the years versus the organic lines, or mainly organic lines, that do tend to have a higher retention and also tend to cool when healed and then start to kind of cool even more as the years go down and the client is healed and years down the road. Why do the pigments do this? So inorganic pigments, and again, I say this loosely because most everything on the industry is a hybrid version, but they still will kind of lean either more organic or more inorganic. So you can check the components and the pigments of these pigments by the CI number, which is available for every color and every pigment bottle out there. You can simply go copy the CI number, and all I do is I copy it from the website and then I put it into my web browser, and then it will tell me, is this carbon based? Is it like iron oxide based? Is it black? Is it red? Is it whatever? So let's use the LI line as a inorganic example. The LI line is a wonderful line. They have been around forever. Very high quality, very reliable, beautiful colors, but it is considered, again, beginner friendly. And I'll say that loosely because there are still artists out there that have been doing this for years and years and years and still choose this pigment over other pigments. The LI line, or an inorganic line, has iron oxide based particles in it and pigments in it. These particle sizes are pretty dang big. Whereas the more organic based lines, like your loaded line, your permablend line, your brow daddy line, is a hybrid. It's a hybrid line, but I will say that I do find it to have a little bit more organic ingredients. All of these are very heavily organic based pigments. They have a much smaller particle size, okay? Inorganic, bigger particle size; organic, smaller particle size. Now, when we put either one of these pigments into the skin, the little cell that is responsible for eating and absorbing this particle size is called the macrophage. And the macrophage, he comes along and he eats the pigment, and he eats it and he absorbs it and he holds it for as long as he can. Pigment that is inorganic based has a really big particle size. Let's say the big particle size is we'll say it's like this big, okay? And the macrophage has only got a small mouth. So he's gonna come up and he sees this little particle size, but his mouth can really only fit around half of that particle. So he's gonna eat the half, he's gonna fill his belly, and then the rest is just gonna be removed from the body. This is why after the client is done healing, after that 35 to 45 day mark, the client doesn't have as much retention. Also, the black components in an inorganic line like LI, the black iron oxide, after years and years down the road, it will start to break down and deteriorate and actually turn red. And this is why these colors fade out warm after years. Now, our organic-based pigments, or mainly organic-based pigments, have much smaller particle sizes. So let's say it's like this small, and now our macrophage's mouth is like this. So we put the particle into the skin at the proper depth, and the macrophage comes along and he's hungry and he's gonna eat pretty much that whole particle size. There's not really much left to be removed because it's so small. So now he's holding like 95, 100% or whatever of that particle size, and 35 to 45 days later, your client is going to retain a much higher amount than an inorganic-based pigment. Again, these colors are cooler in tone. Black in the carbon-based pigments is not going to shift red over the years, so they're not going to warm up over the years. They actually do tend to cool. So that is my Bill Nye the Science Guy little demonstration of inorganic pigments versus organic pigments, and why one is more beginner friendly, why one has a higher retention rate, why one tends to cool over time, why one tends to get warmer over time, and all of those wonderful things. And I hope you learned something from my little science demonstration.